All right, this is a speech given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe in 1992. And as we said before, this is very shortly before he had a stroke, month, 2 months, stroke, which rendered him paralyzed and unable to speak. So these words are very important summary of what we're supposed to do. Okay, in this year, the Rebbe spoke about a thing which was really very monumental in the history of the world. It didn't last that long, but it's a sign that it can happen and it'll happen again. And namely that all the nations in the world met in the United Nations, and especially the United States and Russia, and they decided on a peace pact that weren't going to make any more weapons of destruction. And people, they were really genuine. Afterwards, things happened. It's not important what happened, but the fact of the matter is that the fact that it happened even for a moment showed that it's possible to happen, and it's the beginning of it happening again. It's like if a person is in a coma and the doctors say there's no hope, and all of a sudden he wakes up and he says, "Where am I? What's going on? Who's tending the store? Right? What happened to me? What date is it? What day?" Everybody looks and says, "Wow, it's Grandpa. He came back to, oh, I don't believe it. How old people are. How long have I been asleep? Grandpa, you've been in a coma for 20 years. Wow, this is really something. Wow, look at this. My arms don't work so good anymore." They do a little bit of therapy and he starts to work. And then after, let's say, a month, he goes back into a coma. So the doctors say, "Listen, we never believed that he would be able to, we see now that maybe the coma is not so powerful as we thought, Exactly the opposite. We thought the coma was, that's going to be his identity from now on. And suddenly we realize that no, the coma is an additional, this is a temporary thing. And who knows when it's going to come back again. When he's going to come back. The same thing is with the world. The world is supposed to be in peace. And the fact that there was peace, a little bit, it shows that the world came out of its comatose state. And because, okay, so let's go. Here we go. This is also, this Shabbat is the Shabbat which is Shabbat Mavorchim. It's the Sabbath that blesses. It's the last Sabbath of the month. And in it, we make a special prayer where we bless the whole next month. Next month is going to be Adar. Yadu, it's known, Shekol ha'ma'orot ba'olam, that everything that happens in the world, hein bashkacha pratit, they are directed, every detail is directed in great detail by God. Hashkacha means that God directs everything. V'yesh b'hem limud v'hora'ah ba'avodat adam, and everything that happens has a lesson and a teaching in our service lekono, to God. Alachat kam v'kam, much more so, benogea, regarding the mo'orot klalim, the main big important occurrences, hakashurim in medinot gedolot, which are relating to big countries, shebem nimsa rov minyan Israel, that in them are found the majority of the Jewish people in the time of exile. Mashiach is going to bring everybody back to Israel, but meanwhile, the majority of Jews are not living in Israel. They're living in the USA and in Russia. And the Rebbe said that even though it might be that the census and the, whatever it is, the counting of people, however it is, does not show that there's that many Jews in Russia, but the Rebbe said that's because the fact is there could be more Jews in Russia than the whole world put together, but the Jews just don't know they're Jews. Their mother didn't know they were Jewish. The grandmother didn't know she was Jewish. In any case, Russia and America got together. And they're the leaders of the whole world. That also the teachings from these occurrences, it is a very general learning, the ikari and essential in our service of God. Okay, so whatever happens in the world, we have to learn from everything, even the most minor thing, right? You see an ant taking a piece of sugar or something like that. You can learn from everything that is, right? King Solomon did. Lech Lenamala says, go to the ant, you lazy person, go to the ant. So we can learn from everything we see in the world, from the wind, from the trees, from everything as a lesson to us. And the reason is very simple. Why? Because God is creating everything, and He's creating everything not just haphazardly according to the laws of nature. The laws of nature themselves are creations of God, and God is meaning. Alder is similarly regarding to the occurrences which are happening now. The caller was first of all Erev Shabbos. What happened this Erev Shabbat back then in 1992? Shabbat Tasfu. They gathered together all the heads of all the big countries, and the important countries in the world. And the head were the two leaders of the two countries. Back then, I think it was Reagan and Gorbachev. When they decided, when they announced a whole new era and international relationships, bittul matzav milchamot, that there won't be any more wars between one country and the other. She'yitbateh gam b'tzimtzum u'bittul kli neshek, that there will not be any more weapons. V'ad l'shalom v'achdus, that there will be peace and unity. Shituv pa'ula, there will be, working together, ve'ezra hadadit, and helping one another of the countries in the world for the good of all mankind. And before this, Bashkacha Prati is also with the divine direction of God. There was an announcement of the president to the whole entire country, Ba'or Yom Ravi, on Tuesday night, Kami Shabbat, before this Shabbat, Hatchalat Erev Shabbat, beginning this Shabbat, and it brought us into the Shabbat, Shabo Dia B'Yichriz, that he announced Al Pulata B'Tzimtzum B'Bittul Kli Neshek, that he said that our country, America, was going to stop and limit very, very greatly the creation of weapons of war. Nitzol Kasapim, using this money that was saved, that previously would be put into weapons of war, Kadela Hosif Binyani Kalkala, to improve agriculture, Shel Bnei Medina, of the country. Hachraza Sha'ushra al Yadei Beit Hanivcharim, and the whole Senate and the whole Congress, was the House of Representatives, Beit Hanivcharim. Anyway, the whole Congress agreed. Shabo Nikvaim Chokei Medina Sheyesh Lehem Tokef al Pitora Dina da Malchut Dina, because there's the law that the laws of the country, whatever country you're in, if the laws do not contradict the Torah, then you have to abide by the laws of that country. So they made a declaration that they're going to allocate, they're going to remove money from war and allocate money to building the country up. We can learn what happened. We can learn from everything, the place and the time. Including Sheichuto L'tochano Shel Azman B'Torah, the time in the Torah, the day of the week, and etc. Okay, so again, peace. Can there be peace in the world? No, it doesn't seem there's going to be peace in the world. But the fact of the matter, in fact, it never really seemed there could be peace in the world. Never be peace in the world. Anytime there was peace, it was only a trick. One side tricked the other side in order to let their guard down, peace, and they could conquer them. Here there was genuine promises of peace between all the countries in the world. Halimud v'hara, teaching is, serving God, Maisav Avodah is to bring to the days of the Mashiach. Now again, the Lubavitcher Rebbe is trying, and to a very great degree succeeding, in reorienting the whole entire world. There was a person that was like King David had a lot of enemies, and Moses had a lot of enemies. Well, the Lubavitcher Rebbe had also enemies. He didn't have any quality enemies, but he had enemies. And one of them, they asked him, and he was very outspoken against the Rebbe. And they asked him, what exactly have you got against the Rebbe? I mean, the Rebbe knows 1,000,000 times more Torah than you know, and he knows, when he's saving the whole world. And he said, why are you so against the Rebbe? I don't understand. And he said, he sits in Brooklyn and he makes the world crazy. Sitzt in Brooklyn and macht Meshuggah the Welt. He's making the world crazy. And that's exactly what the Rebbe is doing. The Rebbe wants to make the world crazy. He wants to make the whole world crazy for Mashiach, that no one should be able to live an easy, normal life until Mashiach is actually accomplished what he's supposed to. And one of the things the Mashiach is supposed to accomplish is this world peace. As long as there is strife in the world, so we know that it's our fault, or more exactly, everyone should say to themselves, it's my fault. Or at least I should say to myself, it's my fault. And this should make us feel bad. The only thing is, the only way to improve the situation is you got to be happy. If you're feeling bad and miserable, you're not going to accomplish anything because you're stuck in the past. So you have to be happy that you know that you can change the bad. And your attitude will change the bad. What are we supposed to change it from to bring to the days of the Mashiach? A person could say, listen, what's so bad about what I've got? I mean, I've had institutions, I've got buildings, I've got money, I have a family, right? I have a nice wife, a nice house. Everything is okay. What's wrong? I'm doing Torah, I'm doing the commandments, I'm going to go to heaven, right? I'm not doing any sins. Why should I go crazy about what? And the Rebbe is saying that's exactly the point. That's exactly, as long as the Mashiach is not here, is we have to do every moment of our life and say that I cannot be satisfied with what I've got. You have to be happy with what you got, but never satisfied. You have to appreciate everything God gave you. Yes, but the main thing is missing. And that's the point that the Rebbe wants to put into our mind. The main thing is missing. Mashiach is not just a little detail. It's not take it or leave it. The Mashiach is a necessity, more necessity than food, more necessity than clothing, more necessity than your house and your family, and all these things are also necessities. Not that they're not necessities. Food, clothes, no doubt about it. But the main necessity of mankind is Mashiach. And one of the examples of what Mashiach can do, and the Rebbe is going to show us why this peace agreement that they made in the United Nations is an outcome of Mashiach, is there's going to be peace. There's going to be world peace. I mean, have we got any idea how much potential there is in every human being? How much potential for good there is in every human being? I mean, it's just incredible. There's just no limit to it. Right? The incredible potential for good, if just people were not suspicious of one another, and people were not jealous of one another, and people were not spiteful of one another, and one of the goals of the true redemption that there's going to be by means of the Mashiach in regarding to the world, like it says in Isaiah, they will beat their swords, the weapons of war, into plows. Vechanitoteim, and their shields, le mizamrot, to another type of weapon of whatever it is, of agriculture. Oh, lo yisa goy al goy, that nations will not bear one another a sword, or they will not learn any more war. Huh? It's pretty good. Let's see, where is this? 11. Where is this? Isaiah. Isaiah Beit Dalet, right in the beginning. And also in Micha, the prophet Micha also says same thing. Oh. Well, the whole opinion is that, like we said so many times before, one of the main accomplishments of Mashiach is that he will, that every human being will be able to express their potential for good, the potential for love, the potential for joy, potential for harmony, potential for happiness. That this, the potential to appreciate one another, to say a good word, everyone to say a good word for other people, to be happy. You see another human being, to be happy. Every human being is different. They're all made in the image of God. That this year will be by the pool. This is what Melech HaMashiach is going to bring, and that's the Rebbe. The Rebbe is the Melech HaMashiach, and that's why he's the only one talking about this. Like it says in the beginning of the pasuk, "V'shafat bein goyim," that the Isaiah says that the Mashiach, he will judge between all the nations, and he will correct many, how do you say, peoples, nations, races, whatever. But Shofet, this judge will be the Melech HaMashiach, the judge who will be Adon Kol Omim. He will be the master of all of the nations. V'hu yochiach lehem, and he will tell them the Mishi Yimtza Bo Ha'avel, who is found in them a, how do you say, the negative things, Yasham Avos, and he will make it straight. Because of this, Lotia Milchama, there won't be any war between one nation and another, because the Mashiach will make peace between all of them. You won't have to have any wars anymore. People will work on the ground. Because it says in the end of days, the house of God, the mountain of God, will be firmly founded, v'naru, and they will rush to it. Kol hagoyim, all the nations, and all the nations of the world will go and say, L'chu v'nalel har Hashem, let us go to the mountain of God. El Beit Elokei Yaakov, to the house of. This is when the Holy Temple is built. Not now. Don't go to the Holy Temple now. Doesn't make any difference what the politicians say or what the don't go to the Holy Temple now. You're not supposed to go. There will come. You can't force God's hand. And you go to the house of God. God is going to build a third temple. It's going to come from heaven. That's what it says in the Torah. Don't go there now. But it says that all nations. Why will all nations come to the base of Mikdash? Why? Because they'll see this amazing whatever it is, the building. It's not such an impressive building. It won't be so impressive. What's impressive is that the godliness will be revealed, and that godliness is revealed when God wants to reveal it. Now, Beis Elokei Yaakov, and the Mashiach will tell everyone when to go up. He'll build the third temple. Yorenu midarchav v'nilcha b'archotav, and we will go in the ways of the Mashiach. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, because from Zion, from the Jewish people, will come out Torah, and the word of God will come from Jerusalem. Hamoreh u'melech, and who is this teacher that's going to teach everybody and unite everybody? This is the Mashiach. V'alav ne'amar, and it says a shafat, he will judge, he will be the judge. The cave, and it said should be a mimeludit right now, says the Rebbe Machlitim. We are announcing Machrizim Rosh Medinas, the heads of the countries of all the world, al derech, about Tzimtzum of Bittul Kli Neshek, that there is going to be a severe minimizing and even, how do you say, negating weapons of war, v'hosafa be'inyanim hadrushim, and addition in things which are demanded l'kiyum kol kol b'medina b'olam kulo as tochana yud v'kittu charboteim la'itim. This idea of transforming, beating their swords into plows, Shavirat Kli HaMilchama, breaking the vessels of war, Lasot Behem Kli Avodat Adam, Adama, is Eretz Mimenu Yitzei Lechem, there will come bread from the earth instead of going blood into the earth. Harizasiman Barur, this will be a clear sign, Hatchalat Kiyumu Shel Yud Zeh, that this goal is coming by means of the Mashiach. Okay, now you can ask yourself a question. 1 minute. The Mashiach had absolutely nothing to do with this meeting. This was Gorbachev decided and Reagan decided, and these people decided, let's get together, and the Iron Curtain fell down, and they saw that there was a propensity for peace and for openness, and the Russian people wanted it, and the American people wanted it, and this had nothing to do with Mashiach. What are you talking about? This is a natural thing that happened, right? Wrong. Everything that happened and everything that happens from God. And it happens because of our work. Everything that happens. In this case, who put the ideas into this? We'll see in a moment. Let's go. Since we're finding the highest time, the Hechstrat site of the coming of the Mashiach, says the Rebbe, Hine said, Melech Mashiach is coming. Roim, we can see already, Hatchala Pulata Shel Melech Mashiach, the beginning of the Mashiach on the nations. Meshafet Bein Goyim, and he will judge between the nations, Vehochiach La'amim, and he will reprove, he will correct many nations. This is what we said, this prophecy from Isaiah, from Micha. By means of this, that God will put into the hearts of the kings of the world, Leiv Malachim Besarim Biyad Hashem, like it says, the hearts of kings and princes is in the hands of God, Lachlit, to decide, Ulahachriz Yachtav, and to announce together, Mamaru Matzav Kittu Charbotem Leiti. This is the reason. Shachlatav Hachrazazu was now in this time. Why? Because especially the connection to the Geula Amiti Tashlema, the true redemption by means of Mashiach Tzidkeinu B'Pol Mamash. Now, says the Rebbe, is the times of the Mashiach. And now is the time, that's why they announced this announcement of unity now in this time. And of course, one can say, one second, this was 1992, this was 31 years ago, and all of a sudden everything fell apart. So maybe Mashiach fell apart. So first of all, the Rebbe is going to say that this is definitely not. So we'll see. But number two, the Mashiach has to come. And it says that even if Mashiach comes right now, he's already like 2,000 years late. And he's supposed to come and make all the Jews, strengthen the Jews and make peace in the world. This is for sure going to happen. No doubt about it. It's going to happen. It's not exactly like the example I gave him at first, that grandpa is in a coma. We're not sure if he's going to get worse or he's going to get better. There's a lot of people that went into comas and they, But this is not the case here. Here the world is in a coma, and for sure, with no doubt whatsoever, that Mashiach is going to change the whole entire thing. And the example that it happened, all the nations in the world got together. There's total confusion in the world. Okay, there were some things that had to be purified, that they're refined, or whatever. But the fact of the matter is that it happened, and it's just waiting under the covers to be revealed again. And that's why the Rebbe is going to say that, where did this meeting happen? It happened in New York, which the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe chose that should be the place where he lived. And the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he was the Mashiach. As we will talk about tomorrow, but nevertheless, we have what to look forward to, definitely, and what to be miserable about, that it's not happening right now. And to know that the only way that we can change it is to stop being miserable, at least externally, and to be happy knowing that any second the whole thing is going to change. And it has to change, and it must change, but we should feel crushed every second that it's not happening. As we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow. Now let's do the Yom Yom. Here we go. 1 second. Let's stop the share. Stop the